Playing chords accurately and comfortably without feeling tense or catching other notes you don't want can feel really difficult because you're only just starting to get used to how to control your fingers and your hands and use them in the best way. Here's some tips and things to watch out for to help you practice and get this starting to feel much easier. If you're new here, this channel is your guide through developing all the different skills and knowledge you need to become a better piano player and musician. So if that's something you want to do, consider clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything you need to learn. Once you've done this, I've actually got another video coming up next taking you through how to start using chords and playing them with both hands to create an accompaniment pattern. I'll pin that in the comments when it's up. We're going to use a C major chord as an example, which is just these three notes, C, E, and G. To learn more about what chords actually are, how to find all your major and minor chords, or even just naming the notes, I have a few videos linked below in the description, so check that out after this. There's loads of other beginner content in there too. But it's good to just focus on one thing at a time, so for now that's just technique. People often ask what finger numbers to use to play chords. With anything though, finger choices are always going to vary depending on what else is happening, where you've just come from or where you're going to next. There's a few different ways you could play this C. I'm going to use one example which is important for beginners to get comfortable with, and then give you some other finger number options at the end for each hand you can apply the same method to. Although fingers 1, 2 and 3 are probably the easiest to do this with first, as the other two fingers 4 and 5 are less likely to get in the way, I'm going to use fingers 1, 3 and 5 because this one you'll need to practice until fingers 2 and 4 don't accidentally push down other notes you don't want. Feel free to get warmed up on 1, 2 and 3 first though. First, make sure that you're sitting up nice and straight and that your seat is high enough so you can hold your hand comfortably over the top of the keys. That's going to allow you to come down on the keys easier and hold your hand in a good shape. So your hand shape wants to be held so your fingers can kind of curve down like this. When your arm's being held up properly by the bigger muscles, your fingers hang down, they're more relaxed and they're looser, and you can mold them into the chord shapes much easier. Playing piano, we're always trying to get rid of tension. So when you're touching the keys, your elbow wants to be just above the keyboard height and keep a nice straight forearm. Make sure you hold your hand forward enough so that you're bringing your thumb to the note. If you hold it back here, you'll end up twisting around like this, which is really awkward for your wrist. You want to be touching the keys with your fingertips. Don't go up too high like this. Don't go too flat fingered. So somewhere in the middle like that. Keeping this nice arch and a bit of a gap underneath. So I said your fingers need to be relaxed, and they do, but you've got to hold them a little bit firm, otherwise they'll completely buckle. So we're after some good tension here, not bad tension. You just need to feel the right amount of support in your finger joints and your knuckles. Takes some getting used to, but you get a feel for it with practice. So what we want to do now is direct the weight of our arm through our fingers to the right keys. So the trick is to bring your fingers down together using your wrist and your arm. So keeping everything nice and relaxed, just gently drop your wrist weight down a bit. And as you come down, make sure that your wrist is feeling flexible and that you're just catching and gripping those notes with your fingertips. Don't keep it too static. You're basically directing the weight straight downwards, if not pulling back a tiny bit. So I'm just feeling that slight bit of firmness in the 3 fingers that I'm using, and the other 2, I'm just letting them relax so I don't accidentally push down the other notes I don't want. Don't try and force them up. That's not going to work, and it's going to add loads of tension in your hand. So it will take some practice to feel the firmness in those 3 fingers and not in those 2. But keep trying, and the trick is to really not push too hard. Just let your fingers grip and just let your hand drop. Maintaining that good hand posture is going to help you relax them, but it does take a little bit of practice. What you don't want to be doing is pushing with those fingers individually. It's going to make it feel more tense, and you'll end up pushing the notes unevenly like this. So your wrist brings the fingers down at the same time. Don't dig in the weight too hard. So when your hand is down here, don't keep pushing and tensing your hand. You're just kind of holding your arm at the right height where the notes are down at the bottom of the keyboard. So if you can just do this and hold your hand on the keys without them dropping like that, that means you can control your weight. Keep an eye on your hand position because it's a habit you have to build up. Make sure that your hand isn't angled up towards the keyboard like that. You want to keep it nice and over the top so your fingers can come down. If that's still too hard, try practicing each note individually on those fingers. Remember to feel like you're directing the weight through that finger and not actually pushing the finger like that. And then you could try the bottom 2 on their own, and then the top 2 on their own, and then maybe the outside 2, and then try all 3 again. So here's a few other finger options for left and right hand you could try this out with, and remember to follow those same steps. You might just have to adjust your hand position slightly to make sure you're not angling your wrist in any awkward position. Remember, you can check out that other video on how to start playing a chord pattern between your two hands, and I've got loads of other beginner content too linked in the description. Let me know in the comments how you got on with this, and leave a like if it was helpful, as that really helps out the channel. Thanks for watching.